good, everybody? God bless. God bless. All right, so this is a little bit different. But before I get into that, I want to just, say big thank you to my sponsor for the night with Sky Creator Empire, Jonathan Camacho. He is out of Philly. He does the websites for me and everything. And if you want to reach out to him, definitely holler at him, and he will go ahead and get your web designs right. All right, so like I was saying, this is a little bit different than what you guys have been seeing since the second season. Tonight I got a special guest, someone who I've been following for quite some time, and it's crazy because somebody wanted us, a couple people actually wanted us to connect, a couple years ago.
No doubt.
And I sat there and I'm like, well, this guy's not going to connect with me. Yeah, I'm a whole different beast compared to what he probably used to or whatever. But that was for me being ignorant and unknown. You know what I'm saying? So when I reached out to you, I was definitely honored and surprised that you was willing to do this. So that being said, Pastor Jonathan Gonzalez from Ocean City, correct?
Yeah, so I serve full-time at Ocean City Tabernacle.
Okay. I
serve part-time at my local church where it all started for me.
Okay.
And so I serve at both ministries, and I do the public speaking and whatever doors open up, whatever God opens up outside those the walls of the church. So.
Amen. So, like always, I bring whatever guests on here. It's their show. They have the run. Every once in a while, I'll come on. I ask a question. If you guys feel free to ask a question, either through the Facebook page, then we'll go ahead and go from there. But other than that, like I said, this is your show. What I'm interested more than anything is where it all began. So if you want to go ahead and start.
Yeah, that's a great question. So let me jump off by saying this. It's been said that the two greatest moments in a person's life are the day that they are born and the day they find out why. And I'll never forget, what happened to me in that vehicle, in the backseat of that car. That's where it all starts for me. I jump into the backseat of a car at the age of 17, expecting to get home that night, not knowing that I was not going to see home for months. It was just another night. I actually was looking to get home early that night. I'm missing school. I'm senior in high school. I'm smoking. I'm selling. I'm just doing.
Right.
And I'm like, you know what? Let me get home this night. Let me just skip going and hanging out, and let me just get home. And I get in the car, right in the back seat. I sat right in the middle. I placed my left leg underneath the driver's side seat, and we pulled off. My cell phone rings. We're coming up to this little marina, which then turns into a bend right in Egg Harbor Township. And I'll never forget hearing a loud scream. And the girl in the front screamed from us actually just hitting a vehicle head on. The girl that was driving was actually under the influence. She dozed off. I look up and bang, in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, it happened. Melvin, I didn't get a chance to do anything. I didn't get a chance to clinch. I didn't get a chance to move. I didn't even get a chance to pull the cell phone from my face.
Oh, wow.
I was on my cell phone at the moment. And that night, that's where it happened. That's where it starts. As a 17-year-old boy is bleeding to death.
Wow, and that's crazy. And a lot of us don't think about that. Like, things happen at the drop of a dime. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're expecting to go just from point A to point B. It's funny because, not funny, but just the way that you tell the story. I'm always saying it to my girlfriend that whenever the end of the night, call me on, as soon as you get home. It's like, no matter what, give me a call. I don't care if we got home late or whatever, she's leaving my house, just call me. Because anything can happen between here and there. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's your fault. Like you said, you were in the back seat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You weren't in control of nothing.
I didn't get a chance to do anything, but God had a bigger plan. You know what I mean? So sometimes, even though things happen to us that are horrible, like I'm talking about At the age of 17, I went through something horrible that no one should go through. You know what I mean? God had a plan. God took the negative and the ugly and literally turned it into beauty. You know what I mean? And he took those ashes, but the journey was tough. So here I am, stuck. I'm talking about my whole body was thrusted to the front of the vehicle. Right. If it wasn't for my left leg, I actually would have flew through the windshield and cracked my neck and had spinal injuries. But my left leg stopped me because it was underneath the seat. Wow. My left leg actually became the seatbelt. I opened my eyes and I couldn't move.
Question.
Shit.
Did you have a seatbelt on?
No.
Okay.
No seatbelt. Again, I am 5 minutes away from the crib. And back then, I'll be honest, I mean, I'm jumping into an old school 2-door Honda Civic. You know what I mean? We're jumping in the back. Come on, let's roll, you know. My left leg stopped me from actually breaking my neck and my spine and having major, right then and there impact. You're dying on impact type. I'll never forget opening my eyes, and I tell you, Melvin, the feeling of death is crazy. You know what I mean? It's different. And no matter who it is, whether you're 17, 50, whether you're, the hardest individual, when you know you're about to die, things change. You know what I mean? Things change quickly. And so here I am stuck in this windshield, and I look over to my right. I couldn't move. I'm stuck like this. Literally, my face was indented into the windshield. Wow. There's smoke, the blood coming down my face. Here's the crazy thing, Melvin. For years and years, I dealt with all these memories because I remember every little scene. I remember every minute that I was still alive in that car holding on. Right. And for many years, I didn't know what to do with those memories. And so what did I do? I just ran back into the streets. I ran right back into getting high and running away from these memories and the whole why am I alive? Why was I left alive that night?
So there was no immediate, I recovered and I'm gonna find God.
Nah. That was a process. And what's crazy, I got my little bro here with me who saw the whole thing. I mean, he was probably 12 or 13 when all this went down. That night I cried out to God for the first time, Melvin, for the first time in my life. I remember, pulling myself off of this windshield because of the pain in my leg. It was crazy. I mean, there is no words to describe when your left leg is hanging by a piece of skin. That's just what it is. There is no words. I was internally bleeding. My spleen burst from the impact. My cell phone explodes in my mouth. I break over 12 bones in my face. My jaw breaks in 3 different places, all in a blink of an eye. You know what I mean? Wow. And so here I am, laying in the back, just bleeding out. And cops come. The screaming comes. They're trying everything to pull me out. I'm stuck, bleeding out. And this is where it happens. This is where this undeniable moment happens in my life. Right. At the age of 17, I prayed on my last breath. I prayed. I asked for another chance to live. I literally said, if you give me one more chance to live, I'll come back and serve you. Those were my last words as I'm taking my last breath. What I felt, what I seen, I carry with me today. Like I've been marked by that moment. Like what happened to me that evening, that night, has actually launched me to what I do today, right? Mm-hmm. The negativity, the trauma, everything that I went through that night has actually prepared me for what I'm doing. So like what was my weakness then, right? My trauma is my strength today.
Come on.
Put me anywhere. Put me in the darkest room, right? In the darkest room with individuals who have lost it all or have lost hope, and watch me light that thing up, right? And so, what I used to run away from, and unfortunately I ran back into the streets heavy after waking up. God is really using it in a beautiful way to connect with young people, adults, anyone willing to listen.
Amen. So how long were you in the hospital?
Yeah, no doubt. So for months and months. I was flown out to AC.
Okay.
They dealt with my internal bleeding. Then they flew me out to Cooper to deal with my left leg, the reconstruction of it. Wow. And then they dealt with my face injuries. So I was in a coma for 3 weeks. It got to the point where they actually told my mom that, hey, we're ready to disconnect him and, use whatever was still good somewhere else, if she gave the word. But I'm pretty sure this, if you've ever met a Colombian woman, Spanish woman. She ain't let me go. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
She left me plugged in and alive. And I'll be honest. I mean, it was her saying, "No, you're not touching that cord. You're leaving my son connected." And if it wasn't for her,
These are some of the pics now.
yeah, absolutely. That's the vehicle that I was in. I was in the back seat stuck. Here's what's crazy, Melvin. I actually met one of the firefighters that pulled me out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I was speaking at an event, and I come off the stage. I shared my story with a whole bunch of youth, and in the back, there's this white guy, crying. So I'm thinking, he wants to pray for his son or pray for something. There's my left leg. So when I tell you my left leg was just hanging by a piece of skin, that's all skin that was taken from my thigh. This is 17-year-old Jonathan not knowing what just hit him. I just woke up from a coma. I'm weighing 90-something pounds in that picture.
Wow.
My mouth is wired shut. There's the injury from my cell phone exploding. I was a mess. It was tough at 17 years old. So I meet this firefighter, and it was crazy because I'm coming down from the stage, and I'm getting ready to head out, and here he is, and he pulls me in, and this dude hugs me, and I'm like, he's like, really hug me. I'm like, all right, no doubt. Give him some love, But then he says, yo, it was me. And when he says it was me, I look at him, and he's like, I was one of the firefighters that pulled you out. I was there that night.
Come on.
Bro, I've never hugged a man the way I hugged this dude. Like,
Right.
Because for many years, I wanted to hear from someone who was there, right? I remember I know what I remember. I know what I went through. But I wanted to hear it from elsewhere and stuff. And so, yeah, he told me, listen, when we pulled you out, we could see that you were internally bleeding. You were bad. I knew that tomorrow I was going to hear about you, that you weren't going to make it. But we placed you in a helicopter, took you to AC, and AC took you to Philly, and I was there for months, 4 or 5 months. Then rehab was a couple more months. And then that was just the beginning of many years of darkness.
Okay. So once you were actually out of the coma, and God bless you, bro. I mean, every time I look at those pictures, I mean, it's just amazing where I see you at today and where you came from, like that. Only God.
Only.
Like, that's not a cliche saying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people say only God or but God. No, that's only God.
Only.
You
That's
know?
right.
But after, you were released from the hospital, you said you went through another dark time.
Yeah, no doubt. So Melvin, I mean, when I came out confused. I didn't want to live. When I first woke up from a coma, I could not speak. I had tubes in my mouth. I could not eat. I didn't eat for a whole year. Nothing. Everything was through a tube in my stomach. I was suicidal. At the age of 17, when I first looked at my face, that joint hit me different. I was scarred by why would God let this happen to me? Why me? You know what I mean? Like, just why? It was a very tough season in my life. On top of that, add the morphine that they were pumping me up with, right? So I had morphine at a button.
Right.
It was controlled, but it was still morphine that was going into the body of a 17-year-old boy. And then the Percocets came into play, right? Percocets were being pumped through my stomach, and once I gained access to pump myself and to take care of myself, I started abusing them heavily, So I went back. I came out, and around my way, they knew me as the miracle boy that made it out. Crazy car accident. He's good, But inside, I was dead. I was dead. I was empty. I was addicted. I was hurting. I was going through a lot of trauma. And, my mentality was, if a car accident stopped me, then who will, right? And those who I still call my brothers, who I still love them, you know what I mean? Because that never goes away.
No,
that never goes away. And they, I mean, I smile right now because when they reach out to me, they just say, yo, I'm so proud of where you're at right now. You know what I mean? So it's much love, but they receive me with wide open arms, like, hey, we with you. And we all just weren't on the right mindset. If you weren't with us, then move out the way. We was out to get ours, And so my mindset was, if a car accident stopped me, then what individual or what gang will?
Right.
At the age from 17 to 21. So it was like 5 years of just just craziness, right? Craziness mixed with trauma, mixed with PTSD that never really healed, mixed with drug abuse, mixed with, street mentality, mixed with a broken home, right? My parents got divorced when I was 12, mixed with just everything that young men go through nowadays, And all that just came in clashing like a train hitting, right? On top of that, the car accident left me with some money. And so once I was of age, I took that. I gave my card, right? So here I am at the age of 18 with over 40 G's in this little card. And it got crazy. It got crazy, So no, it didn't happen right away. For years and years, I was just running away. I found a lot of peace, to be honest. I found a lot of relief in music, as many people do. I'll never forget this. My guy, Juan, here I am in rehab, mouth wired shut, weighing 95, 100 pounds on a bed. And he was into producing. He was into the music stuff. And he just came by and was like, here, dropped off a CD player's like, here, just write your pain. He just left me like that, just walked away. So a beautiful journey of just writing, poetry, writing began. And I really found a lot of comfort, a lot of life. To be honest, I made it into my God. That's what happened. I made writing into my God. And unfortunately, even though that helped me, that turned even extremely, hurtful for a young individual, a young adult trying to find his way and stuff. So,
wow, this is an actual amazing, not just an amazing testimony. I keep looking at some of the comments, and salute to everyone that's watching. Your story, it resonates so much with a lot of that I've gone through and things that I've seen other people go through. And we speak to, we basically do the same thing. We minister to people, we speak to the youth all the time. And this is two different people from two different paths. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I
chose one path, you chose another path, but we went through similar things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And this is what God does. This is how God works.
It's
beautiful.
beautiful.
What I'm saying? And it's amazing. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say is that you didn't have to just come from, street life, gang life, prisons to go through the things that you've gone through.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, and the reality is those things really overflow into what we call foundations of family nowadays. They exist all the way across the board. I mean, different paths are taken, but pain is pain.
Pain is pain.
Pain is pain, and
I like that.
We all bleed the same color blood. We all go through the same kind of trauma. And the reality is, though, what's beautiful is Jesus saved my life.
Cool.
I mean? I would not be here today in front of you. I wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be doing what I've done, and things are on right now. My little bro and I were just driving up here, just talking about how good things are right now, and how many opportunities. And I wouldn't be doing any of this if it wasn't for my relationship with Christ, and that's it, right? Yeah. And even though send me wherever, I'll speak. If you need me to not make it sound as preachy and sermony, that's fine. That's fine. I could still bring hope without saying what I have to say. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for God's grace, I would not be here in front of you. I wouldn't be able to put some shin pads or go play. I do everything that I used to do, even better.
Right.
I'm good. And that's just God's hand is on my life. God's hand is on my family's life, and I'm ready to rock, I feel like we're just beginning. Here's the thing. I've done a lot in the last 10 years of serving and learning just ministry, learning myself, learning who I am in Christ and where I fit in within the basis of ministry. But we're just getting started.
So let's talk about that. Definitely God always has a purpose. He's had a purpose with us, each and every single one of us from day one. We had to go through the things we had to go through, but it wasn't because of a punishment or because of anything painful in God, because God loved us. The devil perverted a lot of things and a lot of choices that we made for the things to happen. But God still had a plan. You're going to go through this, but we're going to use that so that you can go ahead and help others overcome certain things. And so your pain, your hurt, your frustration, everything that you went through, God had a plan for you. And he's using it today.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
I've received that.
What are some of the things right now that are going on?
Oh, crazy.
Actually, before we go there, let's talk about what do you see as your purpose that God's given you?
Yeah. So, clear. Today I'm a husband.
Amen.
Today I'm a father. So that comes first. Before anything I can do gifting-wise, right? For other organizations or for whatever. I need to make sure that I'm a husband and I'm doing the best that I can, right?
Amen.
And that I'm a father to my little boy and my little girl, and that I'm everything that I have plus more. Even though we come from a very, very broken family, you know, my purpose is to share my story. As long as I'm alive, right? As long as there's breath in this chest, my calling is to share my story wherever I go. So even though throughout the years, you know, ministry has really been taking shape, and I direct a whole bunch of things. I've been behind the scenes of some of the biggest youth gatherings, regional youth gatherings in our area, and all those things are great. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I'm called to tell my story. You know, and so yeah. I mean, we've done great things. I have a lot of incredible people from this area that have been a part of it. But I want to take my story to the next level, and what that is, I got a dream. And a goal to speak at every school in New Jersey, right? I want to niche down to alternative schools, which is, I went to alternative. I got kicked out of high school.
Right.
So I got caught smoking weed in a room, and they hit me, boom, they kicked me out. And for some reason, just alternative schools just call mine. Now, I'll speak anywhere, send me anywhere, but there's something about the smaller, more intimate room. Speak to 500 people, great. Speak online, great. But there's just something about a smaller room that makes it just intimate and special. So my hope and dream, to be honest, is to speak in every school in New Jersey, alternative. And by the grace of God, if he makes that national, then we take it national.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on. And so I'd seen something recently you just did for Martin Luther King's
Oh, yeah.
birthday.
Absolutely. So I direct a few different things at the Ocean City Tabernacle. And as the seasons shift, what I direct shifts with the ministry. So I oversee a large after-school program in that community, kindergarten to 8th grade. And then we've launched some high school initiatives and young adult initiatives. Pre-COVID, we were averaging over 100 kids a day. And the beautiful thing is these kids come to our building, right? And we get the chance to teach them about God. Simple. You know, I mean, our doors are open. We do activities. We help them with their homework. Create a youth ministry environment. That's what it is. It's the DNA of youth ministry, just in an after-school program. Right. And so, from my involvement in that, the city of Ocean City was holding their yearly Martin Luther King service, and they held it at our location. And they said, "Hey, would you be willing to open up?" I said, "Of course. You give me a chance. Of course, I'll open up." And so that was just an opening to a Martin Luther King service day that the city of Ocean City put together. And yeah, I had the opportunity to open the whole thing, and you know, there's a few people in. You know, we're still in the midst of COVID. There's people in there that were recording, and other students, other people that were speakers. But yeah, that's what that was.
So, and that was amazing. Like I watched the video. I mean, people could see it off of your page as well. But definitely, I'll even forward it out. I'll share it. When you speak, I've seen so many different things where you've spoken at. That passion can't be played. Like I always tell people, when someone actually speaks, you can see what's actually genuine from the heart, or something that's just like, okay, it's rehearsed. You know, like me personally, I think I speak too street for it to be rehearsed.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Understood.
I always joke about it. I'm not my how can I say, the dialect that I use.
Okay.
Sometimes you would even question if I was a godly man.
I got you.
But no, like honestly, the way I watch you speak, and it's like, okay, this man is not just filled with God, but there's a motivation behind it. You know, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because you're not just an evangelist. You're not just a youth pastor. You're not just a pastor. You're a motivational speaker.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, like that, and I put that even on the promotional video, motivational speaker, because like I said, I followed you for a couple of years, and I'm looking, and I'm like, when he speaks, he motivates. You know, he just doesn't inspire to by telling his story. I understand that that's your story, and you know that's something that you're very passionate about. But I mean, I would just listen to you even if you didn't have that story.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know?
I love that you say that because I love to teach. I ain't gonna lie. I love it. I mean, I use my story as an introductory, right? Let me get through the doors and connect with whatever audience, and then by the grace of God, if they want me to come back, I'll come back, and I'll rock out any topic to reach whatever audience. But yeah, I love it, man. I do.
Yeah.
I enjoy diving in. I enjoy putting in the time to practice. I mean, because, you know, got to practice your art, you know, and then there's an art to speaking, there's an art to everything, an art to videography, an art to sound, there's an art to lighting, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
So you mentioned something that the city, Ocean City, asked you to be a part of something. Kind of leads to the next thing I want to talk about. It's like, how do you feel like? Because I really don't know your. You know, you sounded like normal teenage stuff. Everybody is hanging out, smoking, a little hustling here and there, but nothing major. How did the city receive you? How did the people in the city receive you, other than the fact that the Miracle Boy?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So what's interesting is this. Sometimes we see the individual, the blessing, and sometimes have no idea what it took that individual to get to where he's at. And so though my etiquette, the way I may present myself may seem like it was normal, nah, I came through a lot. I mean, I've changed a lot. God has changed me a lot. I come from Medellin, Colombia, you know, and so you know, my parents left Medellin when things were heavy, and I come from the hub of where Pablo Escobar's cocaine empire was being ran. You know,
Right.
Literally, I used to run around the street playing soccer, and you can look up and see, you know, some of, you know, his mansions and his properties and stuff. And so, all through our family, even down to my uncles who were murdered, and there's this drug, it just it ran in our family. You know, unfortunately, I hit an intersection where that car accident and my mind going left with all the PTSD and trauma, and then, unfortunately, the unrealistic and the misguidance that music does to a young person. Let's be real. I mean, if I sit here and listen to something that tells me I need to kill, survive, then that's what I'm gonna do. And then when I'm surrounded by individuals that feed off the same energy, you know, and so yeah, it was a crazy journey. It really has, and so yeah, you might see me dressed up, you might see me speaking a certain way, but it's been quite the ride for sure. And I thank God. I thank God for all that He's done. What's interesting is I stick out, and this is why individuals, when I say individuals, other leaders or other organizations are really interested in me being a part of it, because I can connect with community that others can't.
Right.
You know, got some long hair, I got some tattoos. I found that I got to be myself, right? Can I dress up? Sure. Why not? Do it. Can I put the shoes on and the suit? Sure. But I found that there's a beauty in originality and just being yourself. And so what you see here is what they get out there, right? And so I connect with individuals that other leaders probably don't as easily. So I would say it's taken some years for a city or a community to accept or to say, oh, they're really doing it. You know, that's a real individual, you know, presenting some change in its city or wherever they're serving. But I'm going to say I'm received with wide open arms, right? To be honest, the city of Ocean City is a beautiful city. It's a very wealthy city, but then there's also a population that's very not wealthy. That makes any sense. And there's a clash there. There's a disconnect there for sure. I've reached both. I've reached anyone who's around me, who's with me. I feel just at home if I'm in the city on Georgia Ave where I was raised. You know, so wherever you put me, I'm good. right?
You're the bridge.
Why not? Sure, I'm the bridge. I'm the bridge. Absolutely.
Amen, amen. Now you just said something. If you hear music that talks about kill, kill, kill,
Sure.
things like that, you know, a lot of the guests on my show are Christian hip hop artists.
Yeah, and listen, I want to applaud you for what you do, like for real. Like, and I'm not doing this to make you feel, but just like, yo, I salute you for getting those kind of individuals on your show and connecting with them and pursuing them and creating the conversations that you have and stuff. You know, they're much needed.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's like I was telling you at the beginning, none of this was planned. It's like, not my plan. God's plan was, but then God's plan is always a lot bigger than what we think.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of the artists that are on the show, you know, we talk about it. We talk about the music, the genre that's going on today, and what the kids hear. You know, and most recently, I had in the last episode, I had Diamond from Hog Mob.
Okay.
One of the newest members of Hog Mob, but one of the most powerful interviews I had in a while. You know, the man's not just because of his testimony, but because of the way he spoke. And this is somebody that, you know, grew up in Miami, you know what I'm saying, in the hood, hustling, banging, doing all this stuff. Music, I mean, their music sound hard. Like, keep it a buck, it's like their music is really like street, but
High quality, yeah.
it's godly.
Yeah.
There's no, it's not, it's telling you the testimony, but it's telling you the goodness of God's grace and mercy.
Yeah.
It's telling you that type of, you know, love. It's not giving you kill, kill, kill. So that being said, I mean, where are you at with the music? Like,
Yeah.
how do you feel?
Yeah, no, I'm big on the music. So I'm heavy on presenting music as an alternative when it comes to, and I walked away from me making music a long time ago, right? And I said, I'm leaving this behind because this is killing me. I literally was staying high for days just to write the next verse, just so that I was at a different level when I'm in the room with whoever else was in there. You know what I mean? And so when I left all that behind, I left it behind. But what ended up translating into what I do today is a love for sound and understanding what music is and what it does to an individual. And so I'm huge on making sure that whatever is being played through wherever I'm at, or that at least I'm exposing young people or anyone to just an alternative. Like, check it, like there's a song, I don't even know who sings it, but I think it's called Papa Perk. And the dude says it mad times, right? Right. And so if I'm 6 years old, if I'm 8 years old, and I work with some of these kids, and I'm listening to that constantly, boom, boom. Come on, the kid's gonna be 11 or 12, and it's already instilled in him that I'm gonna pop a perk. Like, it's all right to pop a perk. It's not all right to pop a perk. I don't even know who that rapper is, but I wish I had a chance to actually talk to him like this. Like, bro, do you know what you're saying? You're talking to somebody who was actually shoving perks down his stomach for months and months, and where it led me was crazy, you know. So I'm big on listen. There's life music and there's music that literally will feed you death, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that's just a reality. So I mean that's where I sit. I'm not saying everything is no. I'm a really cool dude, but I definitely am heavy on. Gotta be careful on what you're feeding yourself. Most importantly, what you're feeding others, because whatever you're listening to, a younger one is watching you and following your example and stuff.
And I mean, honestly, and that's just where we're at in life. You got to think, you know, shout out to my spiritual mother and father. They always talk about protecting your eye gates and your ear gates and even your mouth. You know, whatever you're going to put into, listen to, you know, it can corrupt you. So just imagine what you're doing to an impressionable little kid.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, me personally, I remember, like, and I said this, I pretty much say it a lot, because of the music, and I'm far from an artist. I don't even claim the, you know what I'm saying? I don't
Put
even
me in
claim
a
it.
different space.
Yeah.
I got you.
Promoter, event coordinator, all that stuff just is like, I don't even know how I got into all this stuff, but that was never me. But I love the music. I found in prison, we find music peaceful.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna write a letter to our girl, to our mother, whatever. We put our headphones on, turn the radio on in our cell, whatever. Music was always our outlet. But it was crazy when you actually listen to what the outlet was. If I'm gonna write a letter to my girl, and this isn't, again, I don't ever like to knock anybody, but if I'm gonna write a letter to my girl, I'm writing a letter to my girl from somebody like, you know, R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay. At that time, it was like, yeah, he's the man, you know, and the songs is fire.
Yeah.
You know, and I got, oh yeah, this is a good one. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on, what did he say? Oh, okay, no doubt.
I gotta write this down real quick in this letter. You know, or things like that. But not realizing that I wasn't bringing life, I was bringing death at the end of the day. So now today, it's the same thing. I mean, and we do it even when we speak. You know, most recently I did a post, and this is, again, not to take it off me, but I put a post out there about, you know, me basically being transparent about who I was in the past and bringing it to light today. You know, and hurting people that I care about today.
Sure.
And, you know, because of that person I was in the past. And all I kept thinking about afterwards was like, wow, I don't care that, you know, what happened to me, but I actually hurt somebody else because of my actions.
Yeah.
You know, and that was just, all they were words. You know? So, that being said, like, we say things when we speak, just speaking in general. And like, I hear you speak all the time. I see how you do your videos with your kids in the car.
Oh, no doubt.
You know, I've seen stuff like that, and I'm like, wow, that's amazing. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm 34. I'll be 35 next month.
Everybody always gets it before I do. You know what I'm saying? I'm practically 50 years old, just starting to get it. But, you know, it's like...
Look, I was telling my little bro, I'm like, hey, I'm not sure exactly where we're going. I just know we're going somewhere good.
Amen.
And I know that there's, you know, there's an OG that we're about to go connect with that's doing some really awesome things for God. You know what I mean? And so, it's all good. I mean, the wisdom, the grace on your life, you know, the reach that you have, you know, you're doing it. And God is using you, know what I mean? So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
My thing is, like, I look at, you know, a lot of people that are younger than me, and, you know, a part of me is a little, like, I don't want to say envious, but it's like, wow, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not happy of what you had to go through to get there.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I wish there was always a different route that we could have took.
Yeah.
You know, but to see where you're at and to see how you are with the youth. Like, to me, it's important. I love kids to death. Everybody that knows me, I mean, come on, I got kids, like, I got a football team going, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, I speak at a lot of schools. And it's amazing that you said alternative schools, because that's what I do. I do a lot of alternative schools.
Excellent.
It's pre-COVID anyway. Now it's a lot of Zooms, you know, but I speak at the schools, and it's because of speaking at these schools. I think, to me, they're more than actually when I go and speak at a prison, or if I go and speak, you know, even when I speak at a church, you know, like, I don't get me wrong, I love speaking at the churches.
Preach.
You know, I love that anybody asks me, you know, it's an honor.
But there's something different.
It's way different.
I'll tell you what, Melvin, there's always going to be, within the walls of our churches, there's always going to be the next pastor, the next deacon, the next whatever you want to call them within your denomination, to stand up and rise up and take charge of whatever. But there's very few that actually do really well in effective ministry outside the walls, right? There's very few that say, hey, here's my calling, I'm going all in, and this is where I'm at. This is my sauce, going into these niches, you know. And so I'm with you, man. I mean, I probably will never say no to speaking in church, because that's where it all started for me.
Exactly.
Like, literally, when I tell you that, and let me know how we're on time. A book changed my life. Let me jump into this real quick. A book called The Purpose-Driven Life was brought to my home. Not for me, for my mom. I put my family through a lot. A lot. I put him through a lot. I put my other little brother through. I put my family through a lot in my season of darkness. So a missionary comes to my house with this book and leaves it for my mom, prays for her, and then my mom just leaves it in this little thing, this little table. Now, in my time of seeking, right, because I'll never forget this one night. Here I am sitting in my room. Things are good on the outside. Like, things were really good, Things were looking really up, but I was heavy. I was gone, I had attempted suicide more than once. It just wasn't working. I didn't want to live no more. And I remember just saying, but why? Why am I here? Like, I don't want to go on. And I feel like God literally took me back to that vehicle. Took me back to that night. Not physically. I just remember laying in that bed and remembering what I asked for that night. And I literally felt this. I felt, listen, I gave you what you asked me for. You asked for another chance to live. I gave you that. And the reason why you're feeling the way you're feeling is because you haven't kept your end of the bargain. You said you would serve me if I gave you this chance. And so that night something clicked. And I just started seeking. When I mean I literally became dead, like friends of mine, close friends of mine thought I had died because I literally decided to turn everything off. I got away from everything. I detoxed in my own room for days. Almost died in the room, detoxing. And I began to just seek. I began to write my prayers out. I began to seek, and I'm seeking everywhere. Like, all right, who actually answered my prayer that night? Right. Like who answered me? Like, I know I cried out to someone answered me. And in the midst of that season of seeking, there's this book, and I'm reading. I'm going in. I don't think I shared this picture with you, but I got a picture where I look like a revolutionary. I had a season of Che Guevara, and everything was revolutionary, Right. I was ready to, if I had to, leave and join the FARC in Colombia. You know what I mean? That's how revolutionary I was, or at least my mindset of where I was in that time. And then I grabbed this book and I started reading it, and I started believing the words in it. And the words in this book called The Purpose-Driven Life is Bible. Little did I know that what I was doing was reading scripture. And so I took one day at a time, boom. And I'm actually believing and understanding. So this individual who wrote it did an incredible job for an individual like myself in that time that was seeking. Anyways, it came to a place where it said, all right, now that you've accepted Christ in your life, you've got purpose, you need to join a church, a Bible teaching church, and get discipled, And so, boom, I'm like, the only church that I know, I wasn't raised in church. I mean, there's Catholic background in my family, but I didn't know anything about. I went to a church where my little cousin got married. And I went in there, and Melvin, when I tell you I walked in and never walked out, I never walked out. I'm still there today, Wow. And it's incredible. I mean, I remember walking in and I remember getting visions of me up there. I'm like, no way, and it's crazy. It's amazing the way God works. And so let me just say this, and I'm just feeling led to say this, that, we dream and see things and we think that they're unattainable. There's no way I'm ever going to do that. For real? Is it? Could it be that God is showing you a little something, a little glimpse of what he wants you to do or what he's going to have you doing in the years to come? Absolutely. Definitely. And so yeah, that book changed my life, and that's really where things really started moving and changing. And I sat down with the pastor then, or he's still the pastor over there. I met a youth pastor that took me under his wing, and then where I come from, loyalty, respect, all those things mean a whole lot. And so in my culture, you ride out, and so I was there consistently every Wednesday, set up, breakdown. I'm listening. I took a whole year, even off of work, and pursued, some biblical studies in the DTS. And my life was changed and transformed. It all started because I found some words in a book that led me to Christ,
That seed.
Yeah.
That was a seed. I mean, honestly, it's funny because that book, like I said, different paths, same thing though. Hey. That book was literally one of the books that I actually got to read inside the prison.
Okay.
It was like the biggest thing. They became the number one bestseller. Yeah. Everybody was talking about it, like everywhere you turned, and I'm like, who's this Rick guy? Like,
the Rick. Yo, listen. I'm gonna say this, Melvin. We're gonna meet Rick.
Yeah,
we're gonna make it happen.
Amen. I received that. Definitely.
One of my dreams and stuff before I die is to let this individual know that by him being obedient and writing this, that it transformed my life And now, I'm serving and impacting other lives because one man said, all right, I'm going to dedicate myself to write this book that I feel God is leading me to write. You know what I mean?
You know, it's so amazing. This is how God is truly amazing. There's a pastor that's in Tampa right now. Today, I had to talk to this pastor, I want to say, since 2004. At that time, I was banging hard. You know what I'm saying? I still hadn't come to Christ. I still hadn't left the Latin Kings or whatever. And young youth, he started off as a youth pastor. Would always talk to me. Literally would try and just be on me. And I'd be looking at him like, do you understand who I am? I'm a leader of a Latin King, the second largest gang on this. And he would be like, it doesn't matter. You want to serve the true King of Kings. And he would tell me all these things, and I'd be like, whatever, bro. I don't want to hear it. Today, he reached out to me. He's the one who actually showed me that book.
Excellent.
So just the fact that all this is coming,
sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's just, look how God works, because he went today. All of a sudden, it says you got a friend request from, I'll say his name, Pastor John Silkalkis. Nothing like who I would have ever hung out with or anything, but I got a lot of love for this man, a lot of respect, because he didn't give up on me when I gave up on myself.
That's good.
And I say that because when you were just talking, you said everything was good on the outside. Everything was beautiful. But inside, you were broke. You were lost.
I was hit.
Dead.
Yeah.
And how many of us are like that? How many people right now have everything? I mean, look the part, play the part. Everything on the outside looks good. Nice job, nice career, good grades in school. Parents are doing whatever for them. But inside, they're just lost. They're spiritually broke.
Yeah.
They have no real purpose. They're living day for day.
Yeah.
There's days where they do want to give up. They do want to throw in the towel, but they don't think anybody's like them. They don't think anybody has gone really through them. And they might not even have the testimony that me or you have. Nothing tragic or dramatic happened in their life. Right. But they're still hurting on the inside.
Yeah.
They have to live up to this facade because they're friends or because of their peers around them. Someone like that, and I'm about to throw you under the bus. What would you say?
That's a great question. Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, there's only one way to God, and that's Jesus, right? And so you could try and you can seek, or you can try to figure out or hide behind. True freedom only comes from Christ.
Come on.
I have tried many things, Melvin, a lot. I've been through a lot of roads trying to figure out freedom, and freedom is found only in Christ. Literally, when I started to pray, and when I still have these notebooks in my house. I mean, they're mad old. I would end my prayers in Jesus' name. When I began to use His name in ending my prayers, when I would, reiterate His name and keep it, something was happening, not only physically in my body, but also mentally. I was transformed. So I would tell anyone who is hurting inside, anyone who is empty inside, and who might have it all and might not have the story. Listen, we are all broken. All broken. Whether you have all the money in the bank, whether you don't have anything at all, we all deal with this thing called pain and suffering as a result of sin in the world. And it's simple. We realign ourselves with our true purpose and calling in life, which only comes through Christ Jesus, and things will start shifting in your life. Sometimes it's boom, and sometimes it's a process, but that's all right. That's all right. Listen, you put yourself around other individuals who are on fire, right? For God, who are moving forward. You don't isolate yourself, and things will begin to change, right? The clock will begin to turn in your favor. But, if someone thinks they know it all, then listen, I mean, I'm pretty set on, boom, if someone is looking for it, someone is looking for change, looking to change, and are ready to rock, let's rock. I got you.
Right.
Come on, I'm with you. I'll give you 200% of me. You know.
Let's go.
But if you're not, then I'm on. I got to move on. You know what I mean? I'm on a mission, and I'm not going to let anyone or anything hold me back or derail me from what I got to do. You know, so
Which is
to preach Christ, man. Which is to share the story. Which is to keep keep growing. Right. Even though I've been around the mountain a couple of times, I still feel like there's much more to come.
always.
There's so much more to come.
Always.
You know,
Always.
I'm only knee deep. I feel like I need to swim out further, and I don't know what that looks like for me. I just know I got to keep doing what I'm doing.
And what is it that you have going on right now? Like I know most recently I was invited to. You have
Oh yeah, excellent. Yeah, no doubt. So I'm on a mission I'm director of youth ministry at the Ocean City Tabernacle, and that encompasses a few things. I got a pretty awesome youth center there that I make available to youth ministries from the tri-state. So let's just say, Melvin, you run a youth ministry in New York, and you're looking for the beach. Well, guess what? I'm 2 blocks away from the beach. I got a full gym that's set up for a youth retreat. And so one of my goals there is to reach and connect with 300 youth pastors, 300 youth leaders from New Jersey, right? Not only to build, because there's a lack of unity, and there's always staleness, and there's always this weirdness that I didn't stand it back then, and I still don't stand it today. You know, I'm a little nicer today for sure, but you pick up on it. So the idea is just to try my best to create a level of authentic community, right? Community that says, yo, how can I be praying for you? And when I tell you, we were cracking up, and I say cracking, we were laughing. I can't believe how a simple Zoom call with just a few youth leaders on a call, we needed it, right? As men, we needed it. Now, it's also open to any youth leaders who are females, but on this call, it was mostly men. And so, I'm part of a network called National Network of Youth Ministries. It's a nationwide thing, and we're overseeing, the Jersey side. We're trying to really start something nice. So, I'm trying to be the Leonidas of this area and rise up 300 with the goal of doing that, but also just presenting resources. Listen, I got 10 years in youth ministry. I've learned a few things. Now, I've created and learned and kind of molded into, I know what works for me where I'm at.
Right.
But I also know what doesn't work. And at the end of the day, when someone has walked a little longer, they learn a few things, and if we're not open to the wisdom of others, then get ready for quite the fall and stuff. So so that's definitely one of the things that I'm pretty passionate about at the moment when it comes to presenting resources to youth ministers. A few years back, in our area, we're known for we brought out Andy Mineo, Social Club, killed it. I mean, we had 2 years in a row, back to back. Third year had a short mishap, and we stepped back from it, and then COVID hit, and everything had to stop. But I'm in the process of working up something else special just for youth pastors and youth leaders to come out and connect with them and stuff. So
amazing, definitely. I work with the youth. I have an amazing youth pastor. He's also a CHH artist. I'll be having him and their ministry on the show in a couple of weeks. But I'm always down for that. And if there's anything I can do to help you guys, I'll be more than honored. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Absolutely, appreciate that. And likewise, if you got anything going on over here and you need anything at all.
And that's the thing, I really, and I'm a firm believer, I truly believe that a lot of what God has given me with the platforms that he's given me is to connect with other people that didn't want to connect. Or for whatever reasons. I had a guest on the show, we were talking about that. We're from 2 different ministries, but in the same city, doing the same exact thing, and we never connected. And the crazier part about it is that we had a lot of respect for one another of what we do.
Sure.
But for whatever reason, I never reached out to him, and he's never reached out to me to do some type of collaboration.
Sure. Yeah.
This year will actually
It's happening.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So, and that's to me one of the biggest things is like, I love the fact that, your goal is to connect 300 together in the whole state. That's something that, it's an amazing thing that you're doing. Like I said, if I can support anything at all, I would be more than happy.
Yeah, so I think one way that comes to mind, a call to action would be, hey, if you're a youth leader or a youth pastor, or if you're part of a church and you have someone that's overseeing their youth, connect them to what we're doing.
Definitely.
And I can provide links, or if you jump on my social media, you'll see me advertising about it, because I'm really passionate about right now actually gathering youth leaders and youth pastors. So
most definitely.
Yeah,
you
man.
said this is national, right?
This is a national network of youth ministries, and I'm taking on the Jersey, the Jersey side of it.
Definitely, yeah. And I, like I said, I'm definitely connected to a lot of youth pastors throughout the whole state, different places. So, and what I love the most about it is that, it's one body.
Hey.
And it's time that we act like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When the time comes, and I'm not going to start preaching anything, but when the time comes and, God comes back, he's not going to ask you what denomination you're in.
Yeah.
He's not going to say, okay, he's going to say, what were you doing?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
Exactly. What were you doing?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, coming together, bringing people together is the most important thing.
It's important, and there's a blessing in it for sure. And some of us have just the niche for it. God made us, and created us with that kind of, gifting and ability, and charisma to connect people. And so, use it.
Most definitely. Man, Jonathan, it has truly been an honor.
Oh no, the honor's mine, man.
No, you don't understand. Like, I'm really glad that we finally connected. Like I said, I'm trying to think of actually who was the very first person that told me about you, and she was the very first person that actually, I think, liked the post today when I put it up.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, if she, I'm glad that we finally got to get
Likewise.
together. You know what I'm saying? And definitely I will make sure this will definitely not be the last time.
No, absolutely not.
Because what you're doing, your purpose and everything that you're doing is truly amazing. It's truly a blessing. It's something that is well needed, not just here. I'm not going to sit there and hold you, because I really believe that God's plan for you is not just on a state. I get it. This is our state. This is our home.
Sure.
This is where we live at. And usually this is what we take care of first. But God has a plan for you on a whole nother level, and national is just the tip of the iceberg.
I received that, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I received
You're
that.
going to be going to third world countries and doing the same thing. I mean, I'm not, and I don't claim to be a prophet or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But I see it in you. I see what God's plan is for you. You know what I'm saying? And it's as clear. It's as clear as a glass of water. I mean, that's how clear it is.
Amen.
Amen. You were doing something phenomenal. Truly, truly phenomenal. And where God brought you, you were dead.
Yeah.
Not just on, laying in a coma. You were spiritually dead. You were, completely dead in everything. And there was no reason for you to come back. There was no reason for you to come to Christ. You know what I'm saying? And God said, no, just come to me. Don't worry about anything else. Just come to me, and I'll take care of the rest. And that's what he's been doing. Yeah. And now your story, like I always tell everybody, our mess becomes a message. That's one of the biggest sayings that I've heard from Pastor Andy. And
it sounds like a sermon title.
Yeah, definitely. But it's true. Your mess did become a message. And it's a blessing. Yeah. And it's going to be a blessing to so many others.
Yeah, I receive that completely. And this means a lot, actually. Sometimes we are so on the go and so on the doing, right, that we miss moments like this. So I have someone like yourself just speaking, words that mean a lot. Because I don't. Yeah, I'm locked in. I'm doing. So these moments like this mean a lot because, those words, individuals need them. Men need
most
this kind of word. So
definitely.
I appreciate you.
Most definitely. Again, thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone that came on the live tonight. Definitely. Before we go, let them know where they could reach out to you. Any social media platforms? Anything?
Yeah,
like
absolutely. So Facebook, Jonathan Gonzalez. You'll see my beautiful little girl as the main picture in this past snowstorm. On Instagram, Jonathan_speaks. And on YouTube, Jonathan Gonzalez, I am more than my scars. You'll find me on there.
I like that. All right. So again, thank everyone for being on here tonight. Definitely share this. I gotta tell you guys, I'm not here for the likes or for the shares or anything like that, but this is a message right here. You're looking at two men that came from two different paths, two different walks in life. You know what I'm saying? But have one purpose, and that's for the body of Christ. You know what I'm saying? Whatever God's plan is for us, He's brought us together. He brought us to His table together to have this conversation and bring you guys in as well. So I pray that this message was as fruitful for you guys as it was for me. And I also pray that you guys can send it out to whomever so they can be blessed as well. All right? Thank you guys. Have a blessed night, and I'll talk to you soon.